Hello and welcome to Compelled to Impact, where I hope you hear something that inspires, impacts, and ignites your soul to be the real you, the human you are meant to be at this very amazing time on earth. I'm Gina T, Spirit-led mentor. I'm going to dedicate this to my children, my closest friends, and others who I love with love from the depth of my soul, and to all humans with love and honor for being here and getting up every day to do your best. Keep spreading ripples of goodness. I wanted to do that first because I don't really know how this is going to go and if I'm going to get through it okay, if I'll remember to say those things at the end. I had set aside this first week of February as a stay-at-home retreat to go deeper within my soul and my spirit alignment to connect in a more real way with the all-encompassing power of God, deep, authentic love, and freedom to just be. I've done this on a smaller scale every once in a while, but this had to be different because the old systems of every element of our lives on this earth at this time need to be reassessed, reimagined, and rebuilt on a more solid foundation. That means personally and collectively. Everything breaks down after a while, which is why living on this earth in this human body and existence, there needs to be an intentional, ever-changing, and growing process. That's how we keep going. That's how we don't get stuck or become stagnant. We can be directed if we keep moving. When we're not moving, it's a lot harder to hear direction and to follow it. I'm going to share the purpose, intention, and intense outcome of my intense outcome of my week over the rest of the month of February, since the answers lie in uncovering one's true self in the authentic love and freedom that we are here to mirror from the omniscient, omnipotent, and omnipresent source and being of God. This means all-knowing, all-powerful, and ever-present everywhere in and around each of us. I'll try to remember to break each piece of this down so that it makes sense and hopefully follows a reasonable manner of understanding. You might need to listen to each video a couple of times to hear and absorb the objective. I'm telling you, this is going to be a lot different from what I've been doing, and which is good because I needed to step it up a little bit. I realize that the word God is painful for a lot of people, but hear me out. It's not in the design or purpose of the manifest presence of God's source. It's because of the interpretations of humans over the years, usually for their own self-absorbed agenda and exploitation. So God's not the problem. Humans are. We do things for our own agenda, and well, not all of us, hopefully, and it ends up hurting people in a lot of ways. We are seeing that whole scene play out in so many entities, organizations, and ways right now in front of our faces. You have the power to change this and change the world by changing your relationship in yourself and with the supernatural God source. The dichotomy or disunion of us being able to fully identify, understand, and absorb what's happening is that in general, over generations, the human race has been led to be dumbed down, depressed, and overwhelmed, and an overwhelmed version of who we are intended to be. Okay, wait a minute. Let me back up a little because I get told often that I need to make sure I don't overwhelm you with the way my words might sound like gibberish after a while when I get ahead of myself. I know you're not in my head, nor would you want to be because it's pretty much an ever swirling, connecting, disconnecting vortex. It does this. In fact, every time I see one of the phenomenal photos of the galaxies in the universe, I see the one in my mind related to them. I'm going to let that sit for a few seconds because I know that's even a lot. This is one of the moments when I feel God's supernatural presence wash over and through me. So, okay, I know that I'm a little different. I think differently with a combination of knowledge and imagination that gives me a perspective most people won't understand. And I'm not the only one. You actually might be one of those people too. We just need to learn how to articulate and share in a loving manner, a respectful and honoring manner. I stopped talking about all of this when I was young because no one had time for my nonsense. And I just kind of faded into the dark corners, just did what I had to do, but didn't really talk much about any of this. I tried very hard to become normal, but being confronted by constant challenges and conflict confused me since it seemed that the simple solution of caring for each other more would have been easier and wasn't being implemented. We each have the capacity to see this world and know more than what's in this three-dimensional space we live in. It's been discouraged since we were tiny humans because the lives of the adults became too complicated with busyness, with the worries of survival, and then too many people fudging their way through life, making it harder for everyone. If we each do our um, best, our most excellent best that we can in the moment, then it raises the possibilities for everyone. Even a little white lie or a little bit of cheating changes the trajectory of the higher good, eventually fragmenting souls and depleting the capacity to love. All that said, I will continue sharing the process of my week-long journey in another video or more. I don't know how many it will take, but I will share the process. For the purpose of February being thought of in the context of Valentine's Day, where people stress out about showing and sharing love to loved ones, maybe the sadness of having lost someone they love, or the painful reality of harboring a lonely heart and not feeling the elusive satisfaction of being loved. Or maybe feeling angry that one day a year, that cursed holiday was created just so that they need to do something extra for a loved one, just to make the card, gift, and flower people richer, not to mention chocolate. Wait, wait, where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. There are so many old and new writings that speak of the meaning of love. But one of the deeper, more authentic books is the children's book of the Velvetine Rabbit. I can't say this is going to be pretty because it's very emotional for me. You might need to look away. I will read some of the best definitive and authentic words about love written by Marjorie Williams Bianco, written in 1922, over 100 years ago. Still true to this day. And when I make it through this, thank you. I want to tell you how much I appreciate you sticking with me, even if this gets difficult. Not sure if it will, but it does every time I read it to myself. Okay, an excerpt from The Velveteen Rabbit. The Skin Horse had lived longer in the nursery than any of the others. He was so old that his brown coat was bald in patches and showed the seams underneath, and most of the hairs in his tail had been pulled out to string bead necklaces. He was wise, for he had seen a long succession of mechanical toys arrive to boast and swagger, and by break their mainsprings and pass away. He knew that they were only toys and would never turn into anything else. For nursery magic is very strange and wonderful, and only those playthings that are old and wise and experienced, like the skin horse, understand all about it. "What is real?" asked the rabbit one day when they were lying side by side near the nursery fender before Nana came in to tidy the room. "Does it mean having all the things that buzz inside you and a stick out handle?" "Real isn't how you are made," said the skin horse. "It's a thing that happens to you. When a child loves you for a long, long time, not just to play with, but really loves you, then you become real." "Does it hurt?" asked the rabbit. "Sometimes," said the skin horse, for he was always truthful. "When you are real, you don't mind being hurt." "Does it happen all at once, like being wound up?" he asked, "or bit by bit?" "It doesn't happen all at once," said the skin horse. "You become. It takes a long time. That's why it doesn't happen often to people who break easily or have sharp edges or have to be carefully kept. Generally, by the time you are real, most of your hair has been loved off, and your eyes drop out, and you get loose in the joints and very shabby. But these things don't matter at all, because once you are real, you can't be ugly, except to people who don't understand." "I suppose you are real," said the rabbit, and then he wished he had not said it, for he thought the skin horse might be sensitive. But the skin horse only smiled. "The boy's uncle made me real," he said. "That was a great many years ago. But once you're real, you can't become unreal again. It lasts for always." Weeks passed, and the little rabbit grew very old and shabby, but the boy loved him just as much. He loved him so hard that he loved all his whiskers off, and the pink lining to his ears turned gray, and his brown spots faded. He even began to lose his shape, and he scarcely looked like a rabbit anymore, except to the boy. To him, he was always beautiful, and that was all that the little rabbit cared about. He didn't mind how he looked to other people because the nursery magic had made him real. And when you are real, shabbiness doesn't matter. I uh, I hope that you feel real love inside of you. And I read that part of the story because I think it's more true than a lot of other definitions of love that we have today. There's a dedication and a commitment and a willingness to do what it takes when we love someone, to not hide or run away or get angry, because we're each in a different place. And it's not about what you get back, it's about what you give. That's where the value is what you give, is how you love. And I know there are times when you need to stop that. There are times when it's unhealthy and it needs to stop. You need to say, this is all I have. But if we don't try, we'll never know. Thank you for listening. Thank you to all my loyal subscribers for your support. I really appreciate all of you. Share this with someone you love, someone who is real. And as always, live excellently, give generously, and love lavishly. I love you. Thank you.